Communications, prepping essentials. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the latest video. In front of you here are some elements to my communications setup, or rather setups, because the items that you see here have been pulled from those setups and they are simply components. I have omitted a few items from this video because I did cover them previously. In my video, My EDC 2026, I featured a credit card size mirror in my wallet and a whistle on my keyring. Now, both those items could be considered as a communication device. You're communicating your presence and you need help, or they could be signalling devices. So there's a little bit of a crossover there, but just for clarity, because we're talking about electronics, I've left those out. Also, we're featuring both one-way and two-way communication systems here, i.e. the ability to receive information and the ability to transmit and receive, i.e. transceive. So let's start with the one-way. So first up, we have this little compact radio by Bosch. And this forms part of my vehicle kit. It runs on two AAA batteries, which are easy to source. They have been removed to prevent drainage, leakage or corrosion to the terminals. It's a good idea not to leave stuff in electronic devices long term, but there's some pretty cool features with this, ideal for vehicle kit. It has the ability to be hung up. It does have a little hanging thing there as well, complete with an aerial. It has an output for headphones, so you can listen a bit more discreetly and save battery power as well. But the best thing about it is it has a scan button, so you can scan for the most local stations, i.e. in its receiving range. If you're in a situation where you are, say, stuck in snow, you need to know what's going on around you, listening to a traffic bulletin for the other end of the country is probably not going to be much help. By tuning into the local radio stations, whatever they may be, is a big help. And also, having a battery powered radio is a big plus. Rather than using your inbuilt radio in your vehicle and draining your battery, which could obviously mean your vehicle won't start and you'll be in a much worse position than you were before, you have an additional item. As I say, you have an instant redundancy here. So definitely big thumbs up for getting a portable radio in your vehicle kit. We'll show you an updated video of my vehicle kit very shortly with this and along with other components. Next up, we have this little 2-band AM/FM radio. Now this ordinarily used to live in my home preps kit, just as a backup radio to find out what's going on, such as being a disaster or so on and so forth, a variety of different scenarios. It doesn't matter really because it's AM and FM. It again runs on AAA batteries. Good idea to try and get your electronic devices where possible to run on similar types of batteries rather than every device having a different type of battery. It just makes things easy. As you see, this originally came from a supermarket, but it's lasted surprisingly well. It's not packed full of features. It's got manual tuning, and again, it has a little headphone socket there, so you can use it for more discreet listening, and of course it'll save some battery power by not using the speaker. But it's a handy thing to have just to know what's going on and to provide a source of entertainment. Perhaps there's been a power cut and you needed a radio. This world radio I've had in my prep some time now. Again, it came from a supermarket, and again it runs on AA batteries. These have been removed from the device for the reasons previously mentioned, and again it's a good idea to try and get similar batteries across all your electronics. The idea of having a world radio is to give you options and choices if you want to be listening to what is happening overseas. And being a world radio, it has not just long wave, AM and FM, but it also has the 9 shortwave bands as well. And you can get good reception even with the inbuilt aerial, depending of course on things like atmospheric conditions, the time of day, etc. But again, it is a disaster or something, which is worldwide, it might just be a help. And there's still broadcasts that go out on shortwave radio. It's handy to build up, when you're doing your research, a frequency log and keep that with the radio equipment. Now, it's a pretty simple piece of kit. It's got manual tuning, manual volume control, it's got the band selector, power on, power off, but again, keep things simple. The last thing I'm going to show you is this Unicom dynamo radio. Now, this forms a key component in my blackout kit. It's multi-purpose, and you can charge it either with a 12-volt DC charger. It will run on batteries. Guess what? It's AA's. I like AA batteries. They're easy to source and replace in an emergency. We always keep stocks of them. It also has the hand crank. By winding up the radio, you're giving it power. Even just a little bit for demonstration purposes will show you that it works. And obviously tune it in. Now obviously I haven't broadcast anything. YouTube doesn't like music being played through on videos, but you get the idea. You've got some basic selections to be able to get the power from either the generator or the battery. And you have the inbuilt aerial as well as a torch, so multi-purpose. That's the model number on the back, but that is a dynamo radio. I'm going to do a separate video on my blackout box with this and other important considerations. You know what? If the power goes out, this could be a big help. So two-way communication, i.e. being able to transmit and receive. So first of all, we're talking about mobile phones. So mobile phones. Pretty much everyone carries a mobile phone these days, and pretty much those phones are smartphones. Most people consider it as the primary communication device, and aside from all the gadgets and apps, people are using them to effectively almost run their life, which is not a good thing, but it happens. You have the ability to network through social media, so if you're looking to increase your community and you're wanting to network with like-minded people, you can join various groups on social media, you can watch videos, you may even be watching this video on a smartphone, so they're not all bad. But they do have their drawbacks. You can lose power, you can lose network, and of course you could have a systems crash with the operating system. You can't do much about the systems crash apart from making sure that the thing's updated, and of course you wouldn't be running out of power because you're always going to be carrying your power bank with you. If it comes to the point where you're losing signal, this is where you need to think about other communication options. But remember, in an emergency, if you don't have 4G and network is patchy, try sending an SMS. Often forgotten, but an SMS may just go through. And remember, if your 4G is patchy, save your battery power by turning the 4G option off. So we have these Motorola PMR two-way radios. I say two-way, but you can extend that according to how many people you are using, as long as you're all using the same sort of channel. I've had them for some time now, and while we're talking about channels, these are only 8 channel as opposed to 16, so possibly due for a bit of an upgrade, but watch this space as some new kit is due to arrive very shortly. In terms of power, you can either use the power packs as seen there and charge them up using a mains plug. Alternatively, you can run these on AAA batteries. We love AAA batteries because along with AA's, they're easily sourced. You can recharge them via USB chargers or power banks or solar power or mains power. It's lots of different options and choices. The time when you're going to be using radios like this is in a group situation where you don't require immense range. These do go quite far. I've tested these to about 4 miles, which is more than adequate. You're not going to get hundreds of miles out of these things, but in a situation where you're in a family group, or perhaps you have bugged out and you need to set up a communications network, these are great, and being low powered, they're not going to attract too much attention in terms of being monitored. I keep some instructions there as well, which I printed off and laminated, because in a survival situation, your mind could be going at 100 miles an hour. It's a good thing to keep instructions there. But the long and short of it is, if you're going to be bugging out as a group, then having a system which you can link with other people is a good idea. So the Bofeng UV5R, getting a bit of a cult classic status these days because it's been out for a number of years, and you know what, people still buy them. But on the market now, there are quite a few options. So if amateur radio is something you're looking at getting into, then do your research and make an informed decision on the options that are available to you. One thing I would say about amateur radio is that you do need to get your license to be able to operate these on certain frequencies. It's also worthwhile joining an amateur radio club, or at least networking with other like-minded individuals, and that goes across the whole scope of prepping and survival. At the end of the day, networking with other people will really help you, especially when you're putting setups together or learning new skills. All right, so I'm not going to go too much into the features of this radio because there's so much information online. As I say, if you're looking at this model, you could look at other models as well, right? But as I say, this is just the radio that I have here. Now, it does operate with a battery pack, but I do keep spares as well, so I'll show you the rest of the setup. So for the radio to operate correctly, I need to have an aerial. So just tucked in the back here, I have the original aerial. I also have an upgraded aerial as well for better reception. In the back of this pouch, I keep a spare battery, and normally I will remove the battery from the device. Just left it in for the purpose of this video. Also, in the back of here, I have the mic, and that just clips in to the radio, just plugs in like any other mic would. Back here, I have an earpiece and microphone. And then finally, to give me full scope, should I run out of battery power, I have the battery pack. And of course, it uses AA batteries, which are easily sourced and easily replaceable. So lastly, I've got the accessories to go with the Bofeng. I've got a case, just to protect it when I'm out and about. I've got the lithium-ion battery charger. So with the battery in the radio, that will just dock, and I can plug it in with the adapter and the mains plug. If I'm out in a vehicle, I also keep a 12-volt connector, and again, that'll just plug in so I can charge it when I'm out on the move. And so it's worthwhile keeping your accessories somewhere accessible. I've got the instructions and some software in there as well, and so that's all kept in the original box. But as I've said so many times, when it comes to electronic devices, it's not just about the device, it's what you do with the device. So it's a good idea to have a look at whatever you're buying and think, what would I do if it ran out of power? How would I charge it? How many different options can I recharge this device with? Where would I be when it failed? And then you can build yourself up spares boxes, and your kit is going to be a lot more well-rounded and a complete system. So all these items here form part of two-way communications, though I haven't included CB radio as part of this video, simply because I don't have a handheld CB radio anymore, though I am looking at getting one. So if you've got any tips on suitable models or recommendations, pop a comment below, be gratefully accepted. I do have a base station CB radio, or vehicle mounted one, in my lorry. I do use it from time to time depending on where I'm going. If I'm delivering out in the back and beyond, where you can't get a mobile signal, let alone 4G, then a CB radio is a big help. The other thing I haven't touched on is mesh systems. I haven't included them because I haven't got them myself. Again, it's something I'm looking at upgrading to. Do your research on that though. As I include that in my setup moving down the line, I'll come back on with some feedback on how I'm finding it. But as I say, at the moment I haven't included that as part of my setup currently. We also haven't mentioned Morse code, which is pretty wrong with me because it is a well-known method of communication, but it is skill specific. A handy skill to learn and will put you ahead in times of crisis. If you can learn it, do, and maybe this is something else that should be learnt in schools. Now I'm sure I've heard a few of you shout through the screen, "You've forgotten television." Well, okay, I suppose television could be considered as a method of communication, certainly a one-way method of communication, but I think you have to be pretty selective these days on what you listen to and what you watch, because the information is out there, but how it is delivered can sometimes leave a lot to be desired, and you need to make a decision over what you are listening to and watching, of whether or not it is balanced. And I'll say no more about that. I'll let you find that out in the comments. So in conclusion, the items that you see here will provide solutions, as well as options and choices of course, to a variety of different scenarios. And as I said at the top of the video, these items have been pulled out of various setups just to give you this video here. For example, the mobile phone is an EDC item, whilst the dynamo radio is part of a blackout box setup. And we're going to go into more about blackout setups in another video. And I guess you see by now from watching a few of my videos that I do like to have multiple options, and communication is no exception. If one option fails, you have a backup. Two is one is none. It's all about redundancies. It's all about options and choices. It's not about the kit, it's about what you do with the kit and why you chose the kit. So over to you. Drop a comment below on what you do with your COMMS system, because you know what? Your comment might answer a question that someone else is about to ask. So there we have it. This is where I say, remember of course you can follow me on Instagram, where you will see additional channel related content along with the latest updates. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out the rest of the videos on the channel. If you like what you see, please like, share and subscribe. And of course any comments, love to hear them. Remember, with prepping, it's not about rights and wrongs, just options and choices. And until next time, be prepared, stay prepared. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.